So, you have a pretty decent keyboard that checks most of the boxes. What could go wrong? I'm Real Gion and welcome to the channel. If you hate that gamer look when it comes to the keyboard, this one is no exception. With the Viper logo above the arrow keys to the many angles, the braided cable, this keyboard is for gamers through and through. The font is not the best, it's also not the worst. This is something that I can sort of get down behind. It's leaning towards the more professional side, which is odd considering it's a gaming keyboard, but then again, you got companies like Razer with the font on their newer keyboards, so I guess they have somebody to follow. I like the volume scroll wheel, the dedicated media controls, but the keyboard is still very busy with all of these side functions on the F keys and the arrow keys. I like that they made these side lights, but I hate the side lights because they don't really work all that well, or it could just be the software. The layout of the keyboard is standard, so it would be easier to find keycaps replacement in the aftermarkets. I also dig this floating key design. This is something that has always been really popular among the gaming keyboard community, thanks to Corsair. Viper as a gaming peripheral company has made a lot of Me Too products, and this one is more or less the same. I guess it's nice to have some kind of brand identity, but when you make Me Too products, do you really need one? This keyboard rocks that Kailh box switches, which is nice for resistance against dust and water. In terms of the stats, these are the clicky version with a 3.6mm travel with a 50g actuation and a 60g bottom out. I don't know if numbers are useful to you guys, but it makes me sound smart, so I'm gonna use numbers more often. Honestly, I think this keyboard is sold by the switch. Like, people would consider buying this keyboard if they really want these Kailh box switches and they also want RGB. I took a look at mechanicalkeyboards.com and it's pretty much the only sort of like Kailh box switches that are more on the enthusiast side. They don't have RGB. So in terms of RGB and the Kailh box switches, I think you have a whopping choice of one. In terms of reliability and durability, since the switch is made to be durable, I assume it would last longer than I do. I have to say Kailh has come a long way from being just a Cherry MX clone switch company to a company that's now making their own original switches, and is being recognized by the community. Good job, guys. Good job. Remember not too long ago when I said that it's easier to find aftermarket keycaps? Well, I'm taking that back because this keyboard used a weird blend of Cold-Star stabilizer. This is the kind of stabilizer where the keycap has the placement slot for the metal wires. This means you can't find many, if any, keycaps replacement. So the keyboard is gonna look weird if you start buying aftermarket keycaps. Like, you're gonna lose that uniformity look. In some ways, this is worse than the typical Cold-Star stabilizers because, at least with those guys, you can remove the plastic pieces, take a hell of a long time trying to adjust them, but it's gonna work. For this keyboard, obviously you can't do that. Damn, this sucks. This keyboard uses the typical thin ABS caps that comes in most of the mainstream keyboards. For the price, it's okay. You get RGB, you get a switch that's harder to find. So I guess you can overlook this one. On the other hand, if you want PBT with these kind of sort of gamer keyboard, then your only choice is pretty much the K70 SE. If you're planning on going the more enthusiast route, I'm pretty sure you can find other keyboards with PBT, but the price may be on the higher side. It may be on the lot higher side, like a lot higher than what you normally would think a keyboard would cost. If you guys think the K95 is expensive, then you truly do not know what expensive is when it comes to these enthusiast keyboards. This is not a cheap hobby. Then again, I don't really think any hobby is. The wrist rest game here is pretty okay. You get a magnetic wrist rest, which is awesome, but it's not the soft foamy one like the Razer keyboards. Also, it's not RGB, but at this price point, I don't think we should be expecting RGB. One of the things that I noticed how the sharp edges are. Like, if you're playing video games and some kind of robbers in your house, use this wrist rest, my friend. Use it and destroy him. The flip-up feet does have rubber on them, so the keyboard is going to be planted at both angles. These are pretty good feet because I noticed other keyboards, the feet will sort of tumble over if you lean on the keyboard forward. This isn't the case with this keyboard. Besides, the back doesn't really have anything else to talk about. The cable is braided, USB is gold, which is nice. You got a cable management Velcro, which is always a nice addition in my book. The software has to be one of the weakest, if not the weakest point of this keyboard. It is annoying how you would need to push apply to make the lighting effects, but that's nitpicking. The thing that I hate about the software is that the keyboard will just downright do not work unless it either detects the software or there's some kind of connectivity issue. There are many times when I plug in the keyboard, it would just not work, and when I set certain lighting effects, hit apply, nothing happens. I would have to either close, reopen the software, restart the computer, or uninstall the software and reinstall the software just to set certain lighting effects. That's dumb. This sucks. I like typing on this keyboard a lot. I like how tactical the keys feel to the touch, but this is on the more heavy side, so finger fatigue does happen rather quickly. At first, I didn't like the sound that much, but it kind of grows on me. I would say if I did not experience finger fatigue, I would type on this keyboard a lot longer, but I wouldn't be coming out with excuses to type on this friggin' keyboard. Anyways, here's what the keyboard sounds like. This is a very run-of-the-mill keyboard that would easily get lost in the sea of these gaming mechanical keyboards. The only real cool factor is the switch. For the money, I think you can certainly do better, especially now where we live in a world where $50 brings you a really good RGB gaming keyboard. These run-of-the-mill guys need to think of other things that make people buy their keyboard. One of the things that I would immediately do is fix the software, put layers of lighting effects. Since it's RGB, it should be able to compete with the bigger boys. I would market this keyboard to people that work in harsh condition because it's water and dust resistance with that box switch. Price is just price, so you could try to lowball the competition, but I think it's a lot better if you can justify the price with value. I would definitely scrap those Cold Stars stabilizer keycap kind of deal. It kills aftermarket if you're planning on customizing your keyboard. For the wrist rest, I would go with the soft foam because this would compete directly with that Ornata. And that keyboard, it's freaking membrane. So these are just some of the things that I would do if I was Viper. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys would do anything different than me. If you want to buy this keyboard and support me at no extra cost to you, I'm going to put a link in the description down below if you want to buy one. If you made it this far into the video and you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, become part of the mighty notification squad. As always, you guys stay awesome.